Hello, friends. So, I am continuing the series of domestic violence, violence against women. In my last video, I talked about the increase in femicide and the murder, rape, and assault of women worldwide. But I'm going to focus the next few videos on domestic, the type of violence that happens at home between a woman and her male partner. Simply because even though that happens at home, it trickles down to the society, to community, to the city, and it trickles down to a global situation, all the way from kidnapping, rape, human trafficking, and things of that sort. And I'll make some videos about human trafficking and the victim and their victims and the long term effects to their victims. But I'm going to focus the next few videos on domestic violence that takes place at home between couples. And I can speak on that because of firsthand experience. So I think I'm gonna stay on this vein for a little bit longer until I get it all out. And hopefully somebody can hear this and be encouraged and make decisions that would save them and save their children and provide for a better life. So the topic of this video is going to be the psychology of the abuser, and then I'll also make another video to talk about the psychology of the abused, because women that go through those type of situations, that end up in those type of relationship, also have some emotional, mental, certain type of behavioral traits that allows them to be subject to that situation, and that even causes them to even stay and want to stay and want to go through that. As weird as it may sound, but some women do want to stay in relationships like that, and we'll talk about that some more. But we're going to address the psychology of the abuser. So, what are some of the red flags that you can look for as a woman? Not to say that you're going to go on a date and you're going to be doing a psychological profile on a guy to see if he's an abuser, to see if he's has the potential, 7 year down the roads to start beating you or whatever. But these are just things to be mindful of. Or if you are already in a relationship and you start noticing these little, behavior traits sneaking up and manifesting, and you start wondering, why he's acting like this, then these are just little things to look for to make you wonder if you need to take steps to maybe get him help, because that's one of the things we're going to talk about, behavioral changes, what's going on in the home, and just to be aware. The whole point of this series that I'm doing is just to bring awareness so people can know, so women can know of what's going on, so you can know how these things get started and not be caught off guard, and say, he's never done this before. I would have never thought that he was capable of this. And you're laying in a hospital bed, right? The signs were always there. Looking back, I know that. The red flags were always there. But as somebody was telling me that was kind of counseling me when I was going through when I was on the outer end of my ordeal, I already had moved out and I was going through my divorce. What this person told me is that when you're dating someone, and you're in love with them, you're infatuated, you're excited to be in a relationship, you're not looking to tear them down. You're not looking to find all kinds of defects in that person. You want to promote them, you want to edify them, you want to build them up, you want to tell them how awesome and great they are. So you're not really noticing the red flags because, the hormones are flowing and you're all excited and whatnot. And when you're in that phase of your relationship, you want the best things for that person. You want the most beautiful things for them. You want all the good things for them. So you're not really looking for all the negatives. that show up later on once the relationship is established. So red flags, warning signs: being physically abused as a child, being sexually abused as a child. That was something that I'm familiar with. A lot of men, I worked as a psychiatric nurse for years, and you see the patterns. And I lived with someone that had been sexually abused as a child. And sexual abuse has a long term effect on men and women. But right now we're talking about men. And that causes them to deal with their sexuality, that causes anger, that causes resentment in men. So this is a major issue, and it's happening so much more now, with family members, even fathers abusing their sons. Family members is always that uncle, that cousin. I've seen in the news where teenage boys, 15, 16, 17 years old, are sexually abusing 4, 5, 6 year old little kids. So this causes anger, it causes resentment, it causes a lot of men to struggle with their sexuality and their sexual confidence. Low self-esteem is another thing. Now, a man can have low self-esteem for a lot of reasons, but sexual abuse does cause is one of the causes of low self-esteem. So you're dealing with a guy that was physically abused, had a very abusive father. His father was maybe an alcoholic. His mother was terrified. Maybe his mom didn't stand up for him or didn't defend him, or she didn't know how to leave, right? Because she was a victim herself. It's just all kinds of dysfunctional situations. But a man that was physically abused, sexually abused as a child, can grow up to become an abuser himself. And those experiences can lead him to have low self esteem. A man that has been through a lot of emotional hurt can finally come to you and says, you're a nurturing woman and loving woman who likes to give him a lot of hugs and feed him. Now he can develop that codependent behavior where he just wants you to take care of him and take care of everything. Yeah, he has a job. Yeah, he helps financially, but it's just like now you're have taken this position of a mother. That's that codependent behavior that a lot of men develop. Untreated mental illness is another one, and you're not going to find that out on the first date. But I went through that. Untreated mental illness, depression, anxiety, anger issues, suicide ideation. You're not going to see this on the first date. On the first date, on that first month, he's not going to tell you that he was sexually abused as a child. He's not going to tell you that he has anger issues. He's not going to tell you that he has low self esteem, unless you know how to look for the signs of a man that has low self esteem. He's not going to tell you that suffers from bipolar disorders. He's not going to tell you that he has an untreated mental illness or an emotional mental illness that he is dealing with right now. Another red flag is drug or alcohol abuse. That may be evident, that may be easy to notice. It may not be so easy to notice until later on when you've been with him for a year and you realize, oh crap, this guy's an alcoholic. Oh crap, this guy drinks a lot. The social drinking may not necessarily be a program, but the constant need for this type of drug, for alcohol, denotes another serious problem. Just being unpredictable, emotionally incontinent, having a temper, just getting mad over little things. Another one that I went through was the extreme jealousy, the possessiveness. Every woman that came before you had a defect. We broke up because she cheated. We broke up because she did this. We broke up because she was like this. Every time he talks to you about his ex girlfriends, well, she did this, she did that. We broke up because she was too this. And you start to wonder, okay, well, what hand did you play in the situation? That's another red flag. A man that's emotionally incontinent, who does not have appropriate coping skills, throws temper tantrums like a 4 year old child, just getting mad and loud and yelling and screaming for something that was really not that serious. Okay? Those are other signs to look for. Socioeconomic pressure, financial pressures. Financial pressures is stressful for everybody. It's stressful for men, women, single moms. It's awful. And I went through that too. And a man in a relationship, in a marriage, carries the burden of being the head of the household, carries a burden of being the provider, even if the lady works and she's bringing money too, but he carries the burden of being the provider. So when there's financial problems, when there's not enough money, when she loses her jobs, or when she's pregnant and she's not working for a little bit, that can weigh heavy on him. Life is stressful for men, and we need to acknowledge it, and we need to acknowledge a lot of the things that they go through, not making excuses for domestic violence, but men have feelings too, and we'll talk about that some more. So financial problems can be a trigger for aggravation and anger and fights at home. And of course, another red flag is a prior criminal history. You're not going to know that on the first date either. You're going to have to do a little digging. He may not tell you. He may say, well, I got a little felony because I did something stupid when I was a teenager. Well, you deal with that on a case by case basis. But, just like you just met and then you just get out 3 months ago. Like, what? It's not funny, but it is. Don't get confused with all the smoke screen. Oh my gosh, he wears a suit and tie. He has a nice car. He's an executive. He works here. He works there. You need to do some digging, ladies. I know it's not like you're trying to find out how much money the guy makes, but when you're dealing with prior criminal history, when you're dealing with untreated mental illnesses, you're dealing with sexually transmitted diseases, you need to know. Okay? A bad temper, verbal abuse, very controlling. Where are you? Who are you going out with? What's taking you so long? I went through that. I used to go to the gym, like literally 10 minutes away, to a 40-minute Zumba class. What's taking you so long? Where are you? What you doing? I'm like, the class starts. It's a 40-minute class, and after that, I'd like to go on the machines and do some reps, go on the treadmill, cool down or whatever. Like I'm gonna be gone for 45 minutes to an hour, at least an hour. That was an issue. So I found myself stopping all the things that I used to love doing: my art classes, my music, my Latin dancing, going to the gym, going to visit my girlfriends. It just, you little by little you start giving away all the things that make you, all the things that make you happy, because you don't want any problems at home. Constantly accusing you, right? Accusing you. You at the restaurant and you have to drive home having an argument because you were nice to the waiter. You at the gym and you come home and you have to have an argument because you took too long to get home from the gym because you were having an affair in the gym bathroom, obviously. You go to church, and you say hi to brother so and so. You have to drive home on the way home having an argument because you shook somebody's hands. It was just like you're always being accused of. And later on, after I went through my separation and while I was going through my divorce, I found out that that behavior was actually projecting behavior. I found out that he was actually doing those things, infidelity, but he would project that on me by accusing me of doing things that I was not doing. And based on what I've been seeing, a lot of narcissistic men do that when they're cheating or they're doing something and you have no idea, but they're blaming it on you, like you're doing this. So there was a lot of mental, like a lot of mind games. A lot of things happened that made me think, well, am I crazy? Am I imagining this? So the most common motivation for violence, it's the fact that a lot of guys that do this to women cannot handle emotions. So violence is the way, is the medium of expressing their feelings: anger, frustration, depression, anxiety. Men cannot, a lot of men cannot handle being cheated on. A lot of men cannot handle emotional blows. When a woman goes through a betrayal or she finds out her husband is having an affair, she's going to cry, she's going to get angry. She might key his car, but she's going to call her mom, her sister, her girlfriend. She's going to cry, she's going to be angry and just let all her emotions out. They're going to get together, eat ice cream. Men don't know how to do that. They respond, many and oftentimes respond through violence. That's why you see all these crimes of passion where he stabbed her 25 times or he choked her, because They don't handle those emotions the way we do. So my mom always told me, don't provoke a guy just because, you don't like the way he's treating you, or things may not be at home. Don't provoke him, and don't jump on a man, fighting with him and yelling at him and, acting like you're a dude. I'm not saying that you deserve to be treated a certain kind of way as a lady. Absolutely not. But I'm saying, know your boundaries. I have a girlfriend that was living with a wicked, excuse me, auntie, grew up. And that lady was so abusive to her. She used to punch her a lot in the stomach, punch her a lot in the belly, just beat her as a child. And, because of that, she suffered some internal injuries in her lower abdomen that caused her to not be able to have children. And my mom used to say, if a man is not treating you properly, you don't have to put up with that situation. Or if he's being abusive to you, you can find a smart way as a lady to handle that. But don't jump on a man. Don't just be getting mad and yelling, oh, this and you that, or you ain't this and you with that, and just jump on a guy and start trying to fight with him. Because you can punch him in the stomach or in the chest and he'll be fine. But if he punches you in the stomach or in the chest, you may not be fine. So as ladies, we also have to know our place and our boundaries. There's other ways to handle situation. But a guy with a bad temper from the get go, y'all just went out on a date. You've been dating for 2 or 3 months, and he has a bad temper. He's calling you stupid. Something as simple as making pancakes. How you mess that up? Talking to you like that, talking down to you in front of his friends to make himself look bigger. Very controlling. He's telling you what to do, and you can't do this and you can't do that. Blaming you for everything. I love you, but you just drive me crazy. You made me do it. I didn't want to do it, but you just, you provoked me. When you hear stuff like that, red flag. If you're already in a relationship, already married, already living together, and he has to control the money, if you're a stay-at-home wife, you don't get your own debit card to go shopping, do buy things for the house, buy things for the kids. He has to control everything. If you're working, he has to control, red flag. If he's being abusive to the children, you know what is discipline and you know what is abuse. Constantly accusing you of flirting with other guys, constantly accusing you of having an affair. You can't breathe without him, you know. And I understand that a lot of men that are in a relationship with a woman did cheat, carry that paranoia. But as a woman, you carry it too. If you're in a relationship with a guy and he cheated, you forgave him and you stayed. But in the back of your mind, you're always wondering, well, he gets off work at 5 and it's 6:30. Where is he? It's 9 p.m. and he said he was going to be home at home. Where is it? You always tend to carry that in the back of your mind. You either forgave and moved on, or you forgave and you're constantly going to be accusing him. Both ways, right? Vice versa. The verbal abuse, the controlling. So the psychological profile, and this is just, few of the red flags, things that you're not going to know at the beginning. And some of these things and traumas that we go through as human beings, that men go through, women are very chatty. They'll tell you, "Oh, I was abused when I was a little girl. I was in foster home," or they'll tell you because women are more expressive with their emotions, most of them. And you'll get to find those things out, as the weeks come along or as the months come along. But men are not going to be so easy to tell you that they were sexually molested as children. He may tell you he had an abusive father. He may tell you his father was emotionally absent. He may tell you he grew up in a home without a father. But there's certain things that you're not going to find out right away, or that he may never talk about. Being physically abused as a child, being sexually abused, that's going to cause him to have anger, low self esteem. That may lead him to have a codependent behavior. He may have some type of mental illness. In my situation, this person had depression that I didn't know how to see the signs. They had anxiety and anger issues that I didn't know how to see the signs until it was getting dangerous. One time when I said, you can't keep treating me like this, I'm going to leave. And the response was, if you leave, I'm going to kill myself. That was a big red flag. Somebody who has to drink all the time. Like if you socially drink or you have a glass of wine here and there, but somebody who's just so stressed out with life that they always need a drink, you have to wonder why. Popping pills, right? You have to wonder why every girlfriend before you had a defect. She was too this. I broke up with her because she was too that. You have to wonder, well, do I need to search out these women and really find out the truth? Maybe you'll find out that he was abusive to them. Maybe you'll find out that he cheated on them. Maybe you'll find out she'll tell you he has a temper, he has a personality disorder, he has a mental illness, he has a secret drug habit. Am I telling you to do that? Probably not. Who has time for that, right? But these are just things that you're not going to see at first. If you are in a relationship and you're noticing these traits coming up, I'm not saying that every man who is in one of these categories is going to be an abuser. Okay? I'm not saying that. So please don't take any of this out of context. In the next video, we're going to talk about the women who end up in that relationship and why so many of them stay. They have their own psychological profile too: depression, being dependent, low self esteem, not thinking that they're worthy. So we're going to end it right here. And we're going to pick it up in the next video where we're going to talk about a little bit more about the men's behavior and their emotions and the women that end up in this situation. And you'd be surprised how so many women will say, "Why do I keep attracted this kind of guys?" Yeah, why do you? What is it about you that keeps attracting the same type of men? Let's talk about that in the next video. And if you are noticing these signs, you've been in a relationship, these things have happened more than once, it's time to start looking into resources. You may not be ready to leave. You may not be ready to get a divorce. You may not be ready to, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and pack your kids in the car and disappear. But just be aware and be mindful of what these behavior traits could mean, especially if you're constantly being yelled at and being insulted and being called stupid, or you're not even pretty anymore. Nobody's going to want you. When you're seeing stuff like that, you have to wonder what's next and try to prepare emotionally, financially, psychologically, spiritually, because it could be a really ugly battle. All right, ladies, hope this information helps. Stay safe and thank you so much for listening. Peace and blessings to you.